Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy McLavishh. Peace, prosperity, and power, mind, body, and soul. Death before the sign of speaking the truth, keeping the faith, and holding it the fuck down. Listen, man. Uh, we're gonna react to some spiritual shit today. You know me. I love my spiritual videos. I love to sit here and listen to words of wisdom and things like that. If this is not the video for you, I understand. But we are gonna sit here and break it down. I'm gonna give my waypoints, my breakdown, my breakthrough on it, and I'm just giving you guys a reaction video that you guys can implement in your lives, get good advice from, and hopefully it fulfills your mind, nourishes your soul, and you can go out and apply this kind of stuff in your life, because that's what we do here in Enlightened. Well, we don't just play video games and stuff like that. We also bring stuff to the mindset. And I have been straying away from this kind of content just because I've been moving around and stuff like that. But I want to be able to let you guys know that this content is still more on the way. We're ramping up in 2024 because we're actually going to be in a more stable position. And we're just going to run it like that, man. So without further ado, let's get to it, bro.
Seek nothing outside of yourself.
Oh yeah, and by the way, this is The Way of the Superior Man by Miyamoto Musashi. If you haven't heard of Miyamoto Musashi, I'll give a quick brief overview of him, because he was a very famous samurai who practiced like stoic principles and accepting life for what it was. So he's been seen, and there's an anime about him. I forget what it's called. Vagabond. That's what it's called. So if you want to read that manga, go and read it, because it's about him being a legendary samurai and the things he practiced and implemented in life to help him get ahead, and a philosophy that he practiced in order to see life a certain way and apply those principles so he could do what he needed to as a legendary samurai, combating foes and things of that nature. So make sure you guys go check him out, do your research on him. He's a pretty, it's a good study, I will say. It is definitely a good study.
There is no doubt that Miyamoto Musashi is one of the greatest samurais in history. His unparalleled achievements in swordsmanship weren't just a result of natural talent, but a testament to his unwavering discipline. According to his own writings, it was this very discipline that carved his path to greatness. Musashi's first duel was when he was just 13 years old, which he won. After this, he remained undefeated for over 60 duels. Even now, in the modern day, this record still stands as one of the most historic achievements of all time.
I guarantee it's because he, like they said, he's a very disciplined man. And as a man, you need to have that discipline, right? As a man, I don't think stress is a bad thing. You have to have some type of structure around the stress that'll help you manage and navigate life. That's the biggest thing. If you don't have any way, any direction to see and navigate through that stress, you'll always succumb to that stress. So if you have a structure, if you have a routine, you'll know how to progress.
Miyamoto Musashi wasn't just the best samurai ever in Japan, but also he was an artist and thinker. His life serves as a compelling example of how self-discipline can be a game changer. Without it, we're like rudderless ships, easily swayed by the currents of impulse and immediate gratification.
Boom. And in this society where everything is about immediate gratification, you got likes, you got retweets, you got reposts. I'm a content creator, I know how it goes. But for me, I fell in love with the process and the discipline that comes behind the process, which is I need to upload every day. I need to go to the gym every day. I'm not every day, but I do need to make sure that I'm doing the stuff that I put on my routine every day. Not because I feel as though it's the right thing to do, but because this type of discipline and this type of routine is going to it's going to take my competition, right? The average man who doesn't want to really do anything in life, and it's going to put me above him, because he doesn't implement a routine, he doesn't implement a discipline in his life that is going to make him the better swordsman, the better content creator, things like that. So here I am uploading every single day since I've been back from deployment. The only day I missed was my birthday, because that was my personal day, but I have done enough before my birthday and now afterwards to where I'm always on the algorithm. I just have to make you guys click on the video, right? So I just want to make you guys know that it's like, especially for my men, right? When it comes to dealing with women, you shouldn't, I'm not even trying to make this about women, but you should already have a structure in place for when a woman wants to come into your life. Now, if she fits inside of that structure or not is on you. That's the decision you have to make as a man. But you should have a structure. You should have a structure. And I tell this to men all the time.
Musashi saw self-discipline as more than a tool for achievement. It was a shield against suffering. When we're disciplined, we're better equipped to handle life's challenges and surprises. So with that in mind, in this video, we'll explore Miyamoto Musashi's teachings for superior self-discipline and how they can be practically applied in our daily lives. Accept everything, just the way it is. Musashi's life as a samurai was filled with uncertainties, from the outcomes of duels to the transient nature of his lifestyle. For him, acceptance wasn't a passive act, but a form of discipline. It meant acknowledging the reality of each moment, whether it was a life-threatening duel or a peaceful day of writing. This perception isn't just for samurais facing life or death situations. It's a principle that can be applied to the challenges we encounter every day. For example, imagine you're driving to an important meeting and your car suddenly breaks down. The immediate reaction for many of us might be to ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Or even to curse our bad luck, thereby adding unnecessary suffering to the situation. But what Musashi suggests, instead of labeling the situation as bad and spiraling into frustration, a disciplined person sees it for what it is.
And to expand upon that, emotional intelligence is key. Emotional intelligence is key. The way the mind works and the body works, you get signals, right? It comes from your eyes, it goes down your spinal cord, comes up your spinal cord, it goes through whichever, I don't know if it's the limbic system or not, but it's the emotional system first, right? It goes through your emotional system first, and then finally hits the logistical system, the logic and the reasoning system in your mind. So you're always going to go through your emotions first, but it's how you decide to deal with those emotions and show your character, even despite those emotions, that's going to get you places. Especially like he said in this example, your car breaks down. You can choose to suffer and wallow and cry and stuff like that, or you can just go, "This is what happens. I know what comes with having a car and maintaining a car. Unfortunately, this happened, but we have to get things done, and we have other things we need to pursue, so we must get this done." And it's just that simple. And try not to look at it in a good or bad situation is the biggest thing, bro, because it's just like life happens, bro. Life happens, and if you can choose what you wish to suffer for, like you get this car, it's like you know that this car is going to break down and give you some trouble at some point. So you just know it's going to happen, and you just take that opportunity not only to just get through this adversity and grow your character, but to learn things, right? It's plenty of times in our lives when we have to face adversity to grow our strength in ourselves, and what we can do with when the world throws things at us, if that makes sense. um, Adversity is a tool if you use it the right way. It all depends on your perspective, right? And not allowing your emotions to dictate how you view life and how life happens to you or for you in this instance.
The car stopped working and it needs fixing. The focus then quickly turns to finding solutions, like calling for a tow truck or notifying the people waiting for you and figuring out how to resolve the situation. This principle aligns closely with the Stoic philosophy, which Epictetus encapsulated in his famous quote, "We cannot choose our external circumstances, but we can always choose how we respond to them."
I'm telling you, this is age old wisdom. Like, if you don't allow yourself to just become a victim, like, things are going to happen in your life where it it's going to it literally is going to be not to your benefit, right? But if you embrace that life happens in this way, and you continue to push yourself and work on solutions towards these problems, you will always be learning, growing, and adapting to any situation that comes up in life, especially by having a discipline and a routine so you can continue doing what you need to do, because you'll always have that structure and that vision and that purpose for yourself of where you're headed. So you'll think with that vision and that purpose and that structure in mind.
The idea is straightforward yet profound. We may not have control over what happens to us, but we do have control over how we react.
Emotional intelligence is a major key. You need to learn how to control your lust. You have to learn how to control your anger. I say control, but you have to be able to quickly process these things, right? Let it come, understand why it's coming, right? Be aware that of certain triggers, right? But you can't, what it's called is like emotional hijacking and not being in control of your emotions, right? Not allowing your emotions to dictate how you respond to situations, instead of responding in a calm and a delicate manner.
Musashi also offers a compelling perspective on how we perceive events, cautioning us against labeling them as good or bad. He argues that these labels are not inherent qualities of the events themselves, but rather mental constructs that we, as observers, impose upon them.
And this is the concept. If you can see it right down here, I have a yin and yang symbol, right? Because I like to call it a gateway, because you can talk about the yin and yang symbol, but the concept behind the yin and yang symbol is duality, right? And you want to get to a place where non-duality is the biggest key, is the biggest takeaway, because you don't want to, like they say, you don't want to label things as good or bad. They simply are. Granted, this is the way your mind works. It wants to put something on it so that it can understand the situation better. But if you can adopt a mindset of non-duality and letting things be what they are instead of trying to judge them, you can simply get through it without having a real value placed on certain things.
So when we adopt a disciplined mindset, we free ourselves from these limiting judgments. Do not regret what you have done. Guilt can be a helpful emotion. It's like a signal that alerts us when we've crossed an ethical line. For instance, if you've said something rude and hurt someone, feeling guilty is natural and even constructive. It shows you care about the impact of your actions and offers a chance for self-correction. Sometimes many of us confuse the feeling of guilt and regret. Even though each of them serves different functions, guilt is an emotional response that provides useful information, helping us adjust our behavior for the future. Regret, on the other hand, is a mental state that doesn't serve us well. It's like a cloud that hovers over our thoughts, taking up valuable mental space and hindering discipline. Miyamoto Musashi didn't have the luxury to dwell on regret. He had to focus on the present moment and the actions that would keep him alive. That's why he emphasized the importance of a clear mind for effective decision-making, something that regret can severely compromise.
Speaking on it again, and I'm not going to try to beat on a dead horse too much, but when you're making decisions based off how you feel, you're always going to be blinded by the lenses of said emotions. Even calmness is an emotion, but it allows you to think logistically and rationally. You're not blinded by anger or fear or doubt or regret or worry, things like that, because you put lenses on based on how you feel instead of taking a second, stepping back, assessing the holistic picture of the situation, and then going about creating solutions.
To maintain discipline, it's crucial to keep our minds free from distractions. Regret is one such distraction. Whether you've blown your savings on a risky investment or pulled an all-nighter playing video games and missed an important class or work meeting, regret won't help you fix any of these situations. Instead of getting stuck in a cycle of regret, which often leads to feelings of helplessness, we should focus on taking proactive steps to remedy the situation
and become better. The biggest thing about human nature is that we are here to change and evolve. That is like the only constant in human nature, is that change is going to happen. And a lot of people are fearful of change. And I think that's a problem with society. It's like, you are meant to grow up, right? You're not going to stay a baby. You're not going to stay a kid. You're not going to stay a child. You're not going to stay a teenager all your life. I told one guy before, you have to kill the boy and become the man, right? And that means killing the old ways and how some of those old habits got you through life, and initiating new ones, implementing those into your life so that you can further succeed in life, right? Sometimes you have to, yes, the old habits work, but now they don't. You have to kill your old self. You have to break that mold and begin to build up something new so that that new version of yourself can handle whatever situations and difficulties come your way.
It's okay to make mistakes and learn from them. What's not okay is to let those mistakes turn into a pit of regret. We should aim to learn, improve, and move forward. Be indifferent to where you live. For Musashi, the location was secondary to the discipline and mindset he carried within himself. Whether he was in a peaceful temple or a chaotic battlefield, his inner state remained unshaken. Many of us might believe that a simple change of location will magically solve all our problems, leading to a happily ever after scenario. But Musashi is challenging this common notion and urging us to understand that the key to contentment isn't tied to a specific location. It's more about our mindset and how you engage with life.
The biggest takeaway from this society is that so many people seek that external validation when all you really need is the internal validation that you find within yourself. I tell people this a lot of times. It's like, you need to stop. Comparison is the thief of one's joy, right? If you're constantly comparing yourself to the next person, there's always going to be somebody with a fancier car, bigger house, more beautiful women than you, or better looking spouse, and things like that, right? But if you find the foundation that you stand upon, your morals, codes, and ethics, the way that you see life, right, and you embrace that and the person that you are, strengths and flaws and all, and you literally just ask yourself you dig into the deepest, darkest parts of the abyss within yourself, because you always have to do that. You have to do that in order to grow. You can't just allow said traumas and old habits to just rule you all your life. I mean, if you do, you'll understand whatever position you wind up in is because you allowed your subconscious mind to do so. You didn't tweak that subconscious mind. You didn't really tap into yourself and allow yourself to, feel through these old habits that were making you make bad decisions and things like that. So that internal value is all you really need in life. But it is good to have a supporting cast of people who also understand your value. There's that balance, right? But innately, you should be the number one supporter, the number one best friend. You should also be, I can say, your worst enemy and your worst critic, because you need to hold yourself to a standard. There has to be a certain standard if you're going to be better than average, because the average man just works a 9 to 5, stacks his cheddar, goes home, plays video games, and repeats the same cycle. There are no investments. There's no giving time back to himself. There's no putting his stuff into, stuff that's going to make him money or get him the bigger house and things like that. That's all materialistic. But a man who is truly in tune with his internal, none of that stuff matters. It's the lessons that he learns inside and the battles that he conquers on the inside that matter more to him. That's me. Like, facing the adversity, getting through that stress, right? And then coming out and outperforming what I thought I was going for myself is an internal battle that nobody would really notice about you. You have to be willing to take that battle and show the courage for yourself. If you really love yourself, you have to put yourself in that position to go, okay, we can do this.
Happiness, at its core, is an internal state of mind. Sure, a new place might offer a temporary boost in mood, but if you're not fundamentally content or aligned with your life's purpose, that initial happiness will likely fade. Eventually, you'll find yourself back at square one. This echoes the words of Confucius, who said, "No matter where you go, there you are." Musashi also prepares us for life's unpredictability. If we're on a path of self-improvement or seeking mastery in any field, we might end up in places we never saw coming. Maybe we'll find ourselves in a different country, adjusting to a new way of life.
Oh my God, this hits me personally, because I'm in a position in the military where I have to stay within a certain structure, but I also am I don't really care how I say this, because I don't care for being politically correct. I'm a very free-natured person, right? So I hate the structure. I hate it. But I'm putting myself through this because I'm also facing adversity, but I've also benefited from it because I've got to see different cultures, like the Japanese culture, the Singaporean culture, the Thai culture, simply because I put myself in a position with the military. But I've also grown because of the military, and I will forever be thankful for that, right? But by implementing such practices, such as adjusting to a way of life, like he says, hold on, let's go back real quick.
Places we never saw coming.
You will wind up in places that you never thought that you wanted or needed out of your life. And that's the biggest thing. But by implementing things in your life, certain ethics, certain virtues, certain philosophies and ways of looking at life, you will come out a better person than you were a year ago. And if you're constantly working on improving and evolving, you won't even recognize yourself a year from now. And that's how I look at life. It's like I put myself in a position to where I am constantly learning something every single day, whether it's editing, whether it's reading my books, whether it's going online and learning about some philosophy or psychology, watching a YouTube video that just spark my mind in a different area. Always learning something will lead you down a journey that will forever and always be satisfying, because it will put you through trials and ringers to improve your character and the person that you are.
Maybe we'll find ourselves in a different country, adjusting to a new way of life, or even learning to navigate unfamiliar cultures. These changes go beyond just our physical location. They're tests of our mental and emotional strength. So instead of focusing on where we are, Musashi proposes that we should consider how we are. Are we adaptable, resilient, and committed to our goals? These are the qualities that will help us thrive, no matter where life takes us. To know 10,000 things, know one well. In today's world, we're faced with an overwhelming number of career paths and endless options. It's common to feel drawn to multiple interests, whether it's sports, computers, or art, leading us to dabble in various fields. Having a wide range of interests isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, This can sometimes lead to what's known as the shiny object syndrome, where people jump from one new and trendy idea to another, abandoning each as soon as something else catches their eye. Musashi took a different approach. He devoted his life to mastering the art of the sword. Day in and day out, he trained restlessly. However, it's easy to forget that he was also an accomplished artist, a cerebral philosopher, and a master strategist. With this, we can argue that knowing one way doesn't mean limiting yourself to one pursuit. It emphasizes the importance of focused discipline in mastering one thing at a time and dedicating our full time and attention to this one thing until we master it. By doing so, we now know one way. So by extensively learning a skill and experiencing the entirety of what that is, we start seeing patterns, which will help us learn other skills as well.
I remember when I started the content creation journey, it was hard for me to figure out an editing style, right? But as I studied and learned other content creators, I've been able to find my own editing style, find the right timing and things like that. Like this reaction video, I'm not even going to sit here and edit. It's going to be a straight upload because I know exactly what type of content this is now because I've been in the game for 2 years. And I'm not saying I know everything about the content creation game, but I do know what needs to be edited and what doesn't. This is just straight up great reaction, spiritual lessons that you can implement in your life. So it doesn't even need to be crazy, right? But yeah, when you actually master something, like Robert Greene has a book called Mastery, right? When you master something, it gives you the ability to you can do that thing, certain thing automatically, and then focus on something else at the same time because it's like the back of your hand. You know it, you see it all the time. You know, you pick up on these patterns, and you're able to just do what you need to do because you form certain habits that just work, right? It literally becomes second nature for you. So now that you've mastered this, you can focus on something else. For me, content creation is just a small portion of myself now because I'm able to schedule what I need to do with my content creation. Go boom, all right, bet. Let me go focus on this now because it used to take the whole day to get my content creation stuff right because I didn't know and I was still learning a lot about content creation. Now I can just go, all right, bet. This is what we're doing. Boom, 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 boom. I know what I need to do here. Know what I need to do here. All right, bet. Boom, boom, boom. Habits already know what they need to do. Now I can focus on this thing because this stuff is done, right? And that comes with giving full time and attention to whatever that one thing is in your life. If you're playing a guitar, playing a piano, learning how to code, things like that, all of these things that you do will help you master this certain area, and then you can take whatever skills or things that you've learned during that mastery process and move them over to the next thing and help them implement the next thing that you want to do.
In Miyamoto's case, his strategy was largely based on the patterns he learned from dueling his opponents and applying them on a larger scale. In modern days, this can be illustrated by the resilience we gain by learning how to be adaptable in anything we do. It's the ability to learn how to learn. If you know how to study for one exam, you'll know how to study for the rest. Or if you know how to adapt in the workplace, you'll be able to handle any task you're assigned to. But it all starts with learning one way first, so that you can later know 1,000. Never let yourself be saddened by a separation. Considering that Musashi was a samurai, a warrior who've always faced life or death situations, this principle likely held significant weight in his own life. Separations are a natural and unavoidable part of being human, whether it's the loss of a loved one, moving to a new place, or simply taking different paths in life. These moments of separation will come. For example, imagine you have to move to a different city to chase a career opportunity or to follow a dream. In this case, you'll be leaving behind friends and family, which is tough, but according to Musashi, the discipline lies in managing those emotions, acknowledging the sadness but not letting it deter you from your path.
Told you. Emotional intelligence is key.
The concept of separation also extends to material possessions. Let's say you're attached to your car or your smartphone. If these items were taken away, would you lose your sense of self? Musashi warns against such attachments, suggesting that they can become a form of emotional bondage. The discipline here is in the detachment, in understanding that while you can enjoy things, they shouldn't own you emotionally.
Cooked. I'm not even going to speak on too much with that one. That one just, if you get it or you don't. You shouldn't allow yourself to suffer for things like that because things are going to change. There's no such thing as forever in this world. You should understand that. Enjoy it in the moment for what it is, but do not allow yourself to be fully attached to where it deters you from doing what you really need to do.
Never be jealous. You might be thinking, what's the connection between jealousy and discipline? Well, Musashi's teachings often target the barriers that prevent us from being disciplined, and jealousy is definitely one of them. Let's say you're scrolling through social media and see a friend who's just landed a dream job or is traveling to exotic places. It's easy to feel a pang of jealousy, thinking you're missing out or not
I literally just spoke on this like 5 minutes ago, so I'm just gonna let this shit roll at this point.
achieving enough. But here's the thing. Jealousy distracts you from focusing on your own path and self-improvement. Imagine if Musashi had spent his time being jealous of other swordsmen. Would he have become the legendary warrior we know today? Highly unlikely. In the samurai world, where life and death were separated by the thinnest of margins, there was no room for such distractions. Musashi focused on honing his own skills, perfecting his art, and understanding his own strengths and weaknesses. Jealousy would have been a waste of precious time and energy, resources that he could otherwise invest in becoming the best version of himself. And just like Musashi, you can't afford to squander your focus and allow yourself to get distracted by what others are doing, especially in the age of social media. Maintaining our discipline is more crucial than ever, so when jealousy tries to divert your attention, remember Musashi's unwavering focus and commitment to his craft. Use that as fuel to invest in yourself and to become the greatest samurai in your own field.
W video, man. That's a great video. Not gonna lie to y'all, that's a great video to fucking, you know what I'm saying, to give y'all, man, because it's a lot of times where I see a lot of people struggling mentally, spiritually, physically in certain areas, and it's just like, man, you gotta conquer this. I can't conquer this, master this first. Look at it from a different perspective. See if you can get some type of positive way to do it, because I was in that deep, dark mental prison at one point. But if you can learn how to pull yourself out of that mental prison, the value that you place within yourself will transcend anything that you have to face in the external world. And that's why you will stand out amongst people who don't. It's your boy McLavishh, man. Great people do great things. Extraordinary people do extraordinary things. I will be legendary. I will see y'all next time, man. Be fucking legendary, man. I love y'all.